From everything we said in the previous lesson, I hope you have gotten the sense that storytelling is powerful. Instead of bombarding people with data, we can tell relatable and emotional stories that allow them to see the humanity behind the issue. Everyone has experienced youth, made mistakes, or been misunderstood at some point in their lives. These are universal experiences that connect with people on an emotional level. So, one of our goals should be to become great storytellers and to build authentic narratives that are engaging and resonate emotionally. This is because of the things we already know, which are that storytelling connects emotionally, they help personalize societal issues, and can challenge perceptions while pushing audiences to engage on a deeper level. Part of being a good storyteller is being a good listener. By listening to the stories people already tell themselves, we can figure out how to weave our facts into their narratives. Instead of confronting people directly about their beliefs, it's about understanding what they already think and finding a way to fit our message into that framework. For example, think about how people feel about their own children or loved ones. How would they react if someone they cared about was unfairly punished for a small mistake? By tapping into familiar emotions and personal stories, we can help them see issues in a new light without direct confrontation. Like we talked about in the previous lesson, it is important to fit facts into familiar narratives. So we want to weave new information into what people already care about and tell stories through familiar emotions. People often hold conflicting beliefs, and this opens a space for artistic activists to work. Rather than directly challenging opposing views, we can find areas where people's values align with our message and use art to bridge the gap. Take, for instance, a mural or performance focused on teen pregnancy prevention. Some in the community might oppose discussions around sexual education, viewing it as culturally inappropriate. However, they deeply value the well-being and empowerment of young girls. Through art, you could tell the story of the need for sexual education by appealing to the shared goal of wanting the best for the lives, well-being, and education of the young girls in that community. In this way, art can use the values people already hold, like caring for the community's youth, to open their minds to new ideas without triggering resistance. This is why research is so important. By understanding the specific issue and the audience's concerns, we can create art that speaks to their values. When we know what resonates with people, we can craft messages that fit within their beliefs, making it easier for them to engage with the topic without feeling defensive. Telling stories that people are already open to hearing is a powerful way to get them to listen. When we understand the narratives they already hold, we can weave our message into those familiar frameworks. But here's the challenge. The stories we tap into are often part of the very structures we're trying to change. For example, imagine a campaign for better maternity leave. The image shows a tired mother carrying her newborn with her laptop nearby. She's juggling work and childcare. The message says, she gives everything. Shouldn't she get more time? It's emotional, it resonates, and it's likely to get people on board. But look at what's happening. It's reinforcing the old narrative of women as the primary caregivers, while leaving fathers or shared responsibilities completely out of the picture. So while it gets the message across, it's also keeping those traditional gender roles in place. Now, contrast that with Judy Chicago's The Dinner Party. This iconic piece flips the script entirely. Instead of portraying women in domestic or caregiving roles, it highlights their accomplishments in history, achievements that were often ignored or erased. Chicago's work doesn't just fit into the old narrative, it challenges it. With her work, she's saying that women have always been powerful contributors, not just confined to traditional roles. It makes us rethink the whole story we've been told about women's place in society. This is why, with our work, we need to go further. We need to consider whether we should help people see things in a completely new way, to shake things up, to challenge assumptions, and to get people questioning the stories they've always believed. Surprise is one of the most effective tools in creating art for social impact. It interrupts the usual patterns of thought and makes people pay attention in a way they wouldn't otherwise. Most people go through their day without questioning much. They are operating on autopilot, absorbed in routines and familiar ways of thinking. This is why important messages can often be missed. It's not that people don't care, but they aren't being pulled out of their comfort zone to really engage. When you introduce an element of surprise, though, that all changes. Imagine you're walking down a street, lost in thought, and you suddenly come across a simple but striking art installation. A line of shoes, each one tagged with the name of a woman who has suffered gender-based violence. This quiet but unexpected moment makes you stop. It isn't loud or in your face, but it's different enough from what you expected to see that it forces you to reflect. That's the power of surprise. It wakes people up and gets them thinking in ways they hadn't planned. Surprise works because it makes us question what's happening. We start to ask, why is this here? What does it mean? How should I feel about it? It breaks the flow of automatic thinking and invites people to engage on a deeper level. When things follow a predictable pattern, they're easier to ignore. But when you throw in something unexpected, you give people no choice but to pay attention and engage. Surprise doesn't need to be loud, irritating, or placed in a way that disrupts people's day negatively. In fact, subtle surprises can be more impactful. By positioning your message thoughtfully, you invite people to engage without feeling forced or annoyed. The key is to create moments that blend into the environment, yet still make people stop and reflect, catching them off guard in a gentle way that leaves a lasting impression without being intrusive. A recent example is the viral "She Deserved the Purse" movement. It started when Denisha Gonzalez noticed a purse in the baby products aisle, and she immediately imagined the scenario of a mother sacrificing her own wants for her child's needs. She posted a TikTok video with the simple phrase, "She deserved the purse," which resonated deeply with other mothers. It wasn't a loud or forceful message, but the subtle surprise of finding a purse in that aisle sparked conversations about motherhood, sacrifice, and self-care. This quiet moment of recognition created a movement of mothers supporting and recognizing each other, all from a small yet meaningful surprise. On a side note, even if it might not seem obvious on first look, this is a good example of storytelling. On that same note, like the art of the previous slide and now this one too, storytelling does not have to be in the form of written work, whether it's an essay, poem, video, or song. It can be a static visual, like an image. Ken Nwadiogbu's piece, for example, is a drawing, but we still see a story of two young ladies. One, on the right, looks defeated and sad, confined within a nylon, while the other on the left has a face of anger, trying to break free from the nylon, which we can see has ripped. This was a piece done for the global Me Too movement, and within this static image, we can see a story with a narrative, complete with subjects and actions. So please don't feel like you are at a disadvantage for using one art form and not another.